Hi, I'm Dr. Chris Pierson, the CEO and founder of BlackCloak, the pioneer in digital executive protection. You know, for the past few months, we've been seeing a massive increase in the amount of chatter going on about artificial intelligence and different tools that are used within the four walls of the company. I'm joined here today by my good friend, the founder of Shreve Legal, Jim Shreve. Jim, it's good to talk to you about this topic.
Thanks, Chris. Great to talk to you.
I know we spent some time recently talking to a whole bunch of chief information security officers and even some chief privacy and chief compliance officers in the mix about artificial intelligence and about the tools that are being used on the inside four walls of the company. And there were a lot of takeaways where, you know, folks weren't as fully buttoned down as where they wanted to be and is where we thought they should be in this area. There were a few takeaways from this in terms of things that people should be thinking about as it relates to analyzing and assessing what they're doing on the inside of the company and putting some controls in place. What were some of the things that you think that we should talk about now?
Well, I think there are a number of topics, but I think one is what we found in talking to these CISOs is that there's not even often an understanding of just how AI is being used. What are the official channels that are permissible to use, and what are the impermissible ones that are still being used improperly? So there's not that understanding of how it's being used in the first place, let alone getting to the idea of then having policies and procedures in place that govern how it should be used. I think there's not even the inventory to get to that point. But that's clearly the next point, is you need to set up those policies and procedures. And then even more important, getting education in place for how it should be used and how it shouldn't be used, illustrating the benefits that can be gained from proper use and the problems that can result from improper use, so that you can then self-weed out some of these people going rogue and doing AI that they shouldn't be doing.
So the first point that you made was really figure out what it looks like. So what is your company actually doing? What are your employees actually doing overall? So really just an awareness mapping exercise of how is it our company is actually actively using artificial intelligence and a lot of the tools associated with it. I mean, not what the approved version is, but what the actual use is. That was point one. Point two, you said, was right, kind of double-headed. You know, 2A is kind of that policies and procedures, making sure that you have something in place for responsible use. And 2B, I mean, we spent a lot of time on controls, but you said the word education. I mean, education. Yes. Educating the workforce on what they should be doing, what you want them to be doing, and what things are approved and how to do it, I think is kind of a good thing. You know, I come in on the back end of this always as like a business equation is, look, artificial intelligence and different tools that might be used, whether it's within product and engineering, whether it's within the service arm and operational arm of the enterprise, or within even the sales teams. I mean, there are actually great uses of artificial intelligence and the associated tools in the organization. You know, it's almost like we should probably start at the front end with where does the business want to go, and does artificial intelligence, do these different tools that are out there actually accelerate the pace of that is kind of the ultimate starting point. Would you not agree?
Absolutely, I would agree. And one of the things I know I've told you, this is an area where there's no substitute for trying it, but trying it has to be done in the right way. So you should actually be out there using these tools, seeing what's going to work, seeing what you can do with it, but testing them in a responsible way. I've actually found the worst practices for AI are at the companies who said right up front, nobody can be using AI at all. An absolute prohibition, because the next day people were circumventing that. You can't prohibit it, because obviously there are advantages, and when you prohibit it, you're telling people, okay, you can't use this advantage to do your job.
This is almost like, you know, 15 years ago, even a little bit longer, where we had the shadow IT. Yep. Oh, you can't use cloud, but now everyone is in cloud. And what we ended up seeing was that employees were actually using their personal computer, sticking up personal drives, the proliferation of data and sensitive data just went further and further and further, as opposed to, hey, let's all get together, align on these few key tenets in terms of business tenets, align on these few security and privacy tenets, and then actually chart a course forward. Yep. Jim, it is always great to talk to you. Always great to talk to you. Always learn something. Wanted to thank everyone for joining us. Once again, if you want to learn more about BlackCloak, head on over to our website, blackcloak.io.